Hi, everyone. Happy New Year. Bonne année. Happy Independence Day to all my Haitians. So I am Sandra Florent, and this is our first episode of Ask A Haitian for 2021. So for this installment, I wanted to bring some Haitians, of course, and talk about their upbringing, things that they have going on. And these two I met from Clubhouse. So if you are not on Clubhouse, find out how to get an invite. It's still in beta testing at the moment right now, but it offered the opportunity to meet more Haitian people. And as I was in Clubhouse and listening to their stories and checking out their social media, they were two people that I wanted to get to know and learn more about. And as always, the goal of Ask a Haitian is to learn and meet people, meet Haitians of different backgrounds and find out what they do. Create the content that you want to see. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So first up, ladies first, we have Sarah. So Sarah, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, and tell us a little bit about growing up Haitian?
So my name is Sarah Rejoice. I grew up in Boston, Massachusetts. I now live in Rhode Island, and I own a restaurant and a drive-in theater in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. My restaurant is called Waffle Hive, and the drive-in theater is called Hive Theaters. They work hand in hand, and so when you come to the restaurant, when you come to the drive-in theater to watch a film, we service the cars, so we with food, and so we deliver our food right to the car door, and we try to have minimal interactions with our customers. They order the food online, and it's kind of like a streamlined service where they're not interacting with us much at all, except for upon entrance and upon food delivery, just to offer, a safe environment for people to come out, do something fun, and be safe at the same time. It's a crazy time that we're in. Hopefully now in 2021, things will change and get and start to get better. Who knows? It's not looking good, but um,
We've got to keep the faith. We got to keep the faith.
that's right. So yeah, I started the restaurant first, and the drive-in theater actually, I started that after, just to, like I said, create a safe environment for people to come out, and it's been wonderful so far. A lot of people in the city have come out. I was featured in the Pawtucket Times, and which is the local newspaper here, and it's been a great experience so far. Um, as far as my experience with being Haitian, I had like the typical Haitian experience. I'm sure anything I say, every other Haitian
All our
person has
parents
been
went to
through.
the same parenting school, and that's
They
definitely
went.
something that this has been one of the best parts about doing Ask a Haitian is that I no longer feel crazy. I can verify that all our parents went to the same parenting school and treated us interestingly, to say the least. And it's like, wait, your mom did that too? Like, I thought my mom was the only one that woke you up by saying, live it, live it, live it, live it. And I'm like, your mom did that too?
Oh no, oh no. Yeah, I definitely got that too. They all went to the same parenting school called Ligley's L'école Lacaille. That was the name of the parenting school.
Triple L.
It's it's an experience, and it's just like that's the beautiful part of our culture. Like, you can really share some funny and not so funny memories with people that you've never met or just meet, like, wait, your mom did that, your dad did that too. And so it kind of, I would say, like, breaks the ice. It's kind of like a natural icebreaker to get to know people. So your restaurant, what made you decide to open chicken and waffle in a drive-through compared to like other Haitians might do the typical Haitian restaurant or Caribbean restaurant?
I'm gonna come clean. I'm gonna come clean. I don't cook Haitian food. I don't. Yeah, I'm not. I didn't really grow up cooking a lot of Haitian food. One thing I can do though is make some. Come on, Sandra, don't do me like that. um,
cook
Yeah,
Haitian.
I don't cook Haitian food, but I can make some bomb chicken though. My restaurant actually started off
And it's
with
the
just
basis.
waffles,
Chicken is the basis of Haitian food, though. So if you can make some good
and
chicken,
I make my chicken with my mom's recipe too. It's not just like regular fried chicken. Like it's like I
okay.
use ippies. I use ippies. It's like family recipe. And haven't gotten any complaints yet. But
Amen.
um, and I actually air fry my chicken, so it is easier. It's a little healthier. So yeah, I mean I
You're
started this.
fancy. We got air fried chicken, no glass for the Haitians. You got chicken and waffles and movie theater list. I know your parents is proud.
Yeah, they're so proud. But listen, Haitians aren't they're not easy to impress. That's what I love about my parents. They are not easy to impress. They're like, all right,
Yeah,
you
she
guys
got
got
a
something
restaurant.
going.
Yeah, she got a restaurant and a drive-in movie theater, but she ain't no nurse. She ain't no doctor. I mean,
Listen,
she only got one restaurant. Holla at me when she get 4.
so I was featured in like the newspaper and I gave it to my parents. Listen, they just like, all right now, like, when you start making like money, come holler at us. Like every time I talk to my mom about my restaurant, she's like, but how much are you making? But how much? What's the numbers? I'm like, wow.
She's your accountability partner. So when Blonde, the accountability partner, she's your accountability partner. Keep you on your toes.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. But I love it because I have high standards for myself as well. And it when I explain to people what I do, I'm like, yeah, I have a restaurant and a theater, and people are always amazed. And it takes me talking to people to get that, because I also have very high standards for myself, and I have um, bigger plans and stuff. And so when I talk to people, I do realize that's when I start to realize like I'm doing something special.
That's awesome. And now, Mia, of course, we want to talk to you. And so you have now moved from Florida to Brooklyn. And, Florida Haitians is a different set of Haitians compared to the rest of us. Boston Haitians, too. But only Haitians can talk about other Haitians. The rest of you can't get in on the jokes, okay? Just as the FYI. So don't come with the no. So I'm a New Jersey Haitian, and we a different breed too. They kind of lump us in with the New York Haitians, but we don't. So tell us about coming from Florida to Brooklyn and what brought you to make that move.
Yeah, definitely. Well, originally I moved to Philadelphia from Florida. I graduated from Florida A&M University with my
Are there
master's.
Haitians in Philadelphia?
I was in Philadelphia for almost 13. I said 13. Whoa. I was in Philadelphia for almost 3 years. I moved there in 2015 and I moved to New York in 2018. And I graduated from college with my MBA, moved to Philadelphia, and that's when I really started like more so. I'm a visual artist. I create artwork. That's when I really started to get more deeply into the art was in 2015. I've been creating art since I was 2 years old. Like it was just something that was natural for me. I
The
wasn't
Haitians
able.
let you color and stuff?
Yeah,
They
yeah.
let you do it? They ain't say go read a book and
They was like,
aller à jouer? No?
petit doodoo. You know how they do. But nah, it was something that I was always passionate about. When my parents have never really had any pushback on it. I mean, I think it was more so because I graduated with my master's. I did everything that they wanted me to do in terms of school.
There you go.
So when I like said, "Hey, I'm gonna be an artist. This is what I'm gonna do," like they actually rode with it. When I said I'm gonna, like I said, I started more so putting my stuff out there in 2015. It started to get a lot of traction. Work was featured in the Washington Post, New York Times, Philly Magazine.
Now I'm jealous. Y'all all in the media and stuff. Listen, help me out with your publicist so I can get look, because Haitians love tangible recognition, something that they can. Because like I tell my mom, I do digital marketing and social media, so I do a lot of online stuff. So a lot of that stuff, like you work on a computer, Instagram, Facebook. Like she don't like only when I do things where I have to go out and do an event, she's like okay with. But I think like having something tangible to give your Haitian parents, like, hey, I'm in a newspaper. It's like, okay.
Exactly.
You know,
definitely.
that's awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, I moved to New York. I don't know. They say there's a difference between the South Florida. I can see some aesthetics that are different, but we all the same. And we all, like you said earlier, we all were literally raised the exact same way. You could tell any joke about like how we all were raised, and we all just went through the exact same thing. Like it's very interesting.
And
But
I
yeah,
think it's a little comforting too. Like I said, like when as speaking to more and more, like that's one of the reasons is like, take some comfort in that your parents were just doing what they thought was the best, because it's not just her or your dad or your mom in this isolated bubble. It's how all of them were raised. So pick the good that they did, the bad, throw it away, or how they raised you, or things that you like or didn't like about what they did.
Yeah, I also think it made us versatile, however you say it, because we literally we had two different worlds we had to jump into. When the world outside, when you go to school and you interact with people outside of school, versus the world when you're in your house or you're in Legleys, those are two different worlds. So it allowed us to kind of like know how to like move in two different like fish bowls almost.
For sure. And I think we were, all of you were born in America, I'm assuming, yes?
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
born in America.
So we so it's code switching. We were all code switching from a very early age. My mom, she doesn't read and write English. So third grade, fourth grade, I'm translating paperwork. I'm going to the IRS. I'm going to social services. And I'm doing all of that, and I still have to do my homework. And in a past episode, I was speaking with Santra. She has an organization called Avancé Ensemble. And we talked about how our parents themselves were also combating coming to America, trying to raise us how they were brought up in Haiti in this American system. So now you're battling your parents trying to raise you like a traditional Haitian child, but you live in America. So you can't necessarily raise me all the way how you want to, because America doesn't have that same system. So we're code switching. We're doing the cultural, I'm Haitian, but I like American things. I like my Haitian food, but I still want to have McDonald's with my friends, those types of dynamics. So did any of you, if you want to answer, as far as when it came to you growing up, did you have any trouble just saying, yes, I'm Haitian, or did you shy away from telling people you were Haitian? I know here in Jersey, we had Haitian Beatdown Day. We did have, that type of aggression if you did say you were Haitian. But then as you got older, Haitians were looked at as the tough kids. So they would be recruited to join gangs. They would be recruited to join other things because they thought they were fast, or they were on like the track and field team. So did you have any pushback with wanting to, show your Haitianness?
I'm proud to say never, never, ever. I don't know what it was about me, but when I was a kid and there was absolutely stigma about being Haitian, and people, like, I remember one day there was somebody in class was like, "So who's Haitian here?" And I'm very young, maybe second grade, and I'm like, nobody wanted. First of all, I knew everybody's last name, so don't play with me. Like, nobody wanted to admit to it. And I was like, I'm Haitian, and so is he, and so is she. Like, what's going on here? Like, and I wish you would say something about it.
Pigeon. You a stool pigeon. How you gonna put them out there? They didn't want people to know.
I'm like, why am I scared? Like, what is going on? I was genuinely confused. Like, you are definitely Haitian.
The Haitian that you sprung out. Like, who asking? Kimuta Mandela. Sanu bezwen.
Yeah, I never ever shied away from it. I've always been super proud of my culture. And I think, my parents did a good job of making sure that I know my culture, like making sure that I can speak Creole, including me, not treating me like, a little American. And I definitely feel you on the code switching. I feel like we had to code switch for white America, um, Black America, and then our Haitian culture as well. And it's such a blessing. Honestly, it's such a blessing to have been able to be part of all cultures.
Yeah, it was a learning experience, and for sure. What about you, Mir?
Yeah, definitely. I would say there was never a situation where I like kind of shied away from it. I mean, growing up, I kind of looked different from everybody, so there wasn't any like, yo, what are you or whatever. And my brother was very popular. He represented. He had the flag on him all the time, so people kind of knew that, yo, I'm Haitian. So it was never a thing. I will say, however, I will say it was very interesting because I graduated high school in 2005. And it was still, Haitians still had that stigma where we kind of had to hold our own or whatever. But I remember like when I graduated and like I went to college, and it was like overnight, like Haitians got like, it was cool to be a Haitian all of a sudden. Like people would, it was very weird. Like, I mean, it's good that the next generation, I'm sorry, I live in Brooklyn, y'all. There's a lot going on.
It's fine. Listen, new normal. Take the background noise with it. Look, there go my background noise right there. So.
There it is. But nah, it was very, I mean, I'm happy that the new generation kind of has this like this badge, I'm Haitian, and what comes with that. But it was very interesting just to kind of see that it kind of flip over like that. I'm not sure where it came from, but I mean, I'm happy that the new generation doesn't have to go through some of the things we had to do. There was a thing where you kind of had to hold your own against people. I mean, in terms of people joking on us, in terms of people saying, the little lame jokes they used to always say. It used to really piss me off a lot.
Do you eat dog? Do you eat cat? Like, bruh.
Yeah.
You want to fight? Or do you want to fight?
There it is.
You throw powder? I do. Can I help you?
You are well trained, I see.
I always had a smart mouth, and it just became aggravating. And I like that you mentioned, so for me, so the high school that I went to was a little bit like, it's like what you would like, it was just the school was okay, the education was okay, but like them kids was bad. Not as bad as West Side, like the school, but I went to Irvington High, and those who are from Jersey, like, high Haitian population. We have a store called Mache Lakai, so the Haitians are everywhere. And it's just that in high school, it was just, we were the tough kids, like either some were in gangs, some were on the track and field team, some were the brainiacs. You had the just comes just off the boat. So it was all those dynamics. Then I went to college. It's like, ooh, there's a Haitian Cultural Association. There's a conference. Are we bougie? And it was just like, open me up to a whole new set of Haitian people, and I really, going to college, I was part of the Haitian Cultural Association. I was the public relations. We went to conferences. We went to the, like the different colleges, and we go to the events. And I'm just like, ooh, being Haitian really is not just this little box that they put you in high school or elementary school. And so I really enjoyed getting to meet other Haitian people and learning about what they do. And so that part about it, I loved. And especially as you were mentioning, like speaking Creole, my mom made sure that I spoke Creole and that I understood Creole. I wish I could write it better. That's something I do want to take on in the new year, maybe learning how to write it a little bit better and read it a little bit better. But the younger generation, they do have it easier. And I used to be a little bit annoyed by that, but I think it takes some unlearning. Like, no, life should be easier for them. Like, no one should be bullied because, like I said, my mom doesn't speak English. So in the beginning, like, I would get homework and I'm speaking English with a Creole accent. Like, I learned Creole before I learned English. So I'm born in America and they're looking at me like, are you like, but my main language I speak is Creole because everyone in my home speaks Creole. So for
you
like
ESOL up here? Is there an ESOL program up here?
ESL, yep.
ESOL, okay. Yeah, we call it ESOL down there. Okay.
Mm-hmm. They put me in there for like a couple of days. It's because it's just that, just that nature. And I even think like that when your school officials find out you got a Haitian parent or something, it's like they automatically assume something about you. But I do like the Generation Z, the generations under them. I want them to have it a little bit easier, like not to assimilate, but not to be picked on or felt as though that they have to prove that they're extra or just as good because they're Haitian, because they have an immigrant parent. I know in the census, the 2020 census, it was like the first time Haitians were included in that breakdown. And I was pushing hard for our Haitian people to fill out. Did you guys fill out your census? Did y'all fill it out?
Crickets.
Yeah, I got to get involved. Because imagine America, you know how America works. You don't fill out the form, they pretend they don't know you exist. But that was something that we talked about, is because America has a high Haitian population. Doing this, and even Clubhouse and Twitter and Instagram, it's like, there's Haitians in North Dakota. There's Haitians in what are you doing there?
Very crazy.
Haitians in Utah for what? How did y'all find Utah?
Yep.
And so when we do fill out the census, when we do participate in different things, we get that money allocated. We get those resources allocated. So when I saw us on the census, I was like, yes, finally. It only took till 2020, and Haitians been immigrating to America since, early 70s, early 60s, way before then. And then the influx in the 80s. So those types of things I like for our people to get involved in, and just, that it helps the younger generation. So it's not like we're so foreign. Oh, you're Haitian? Where's that? Oh my God. I've Haitian Creole. What's that? Listen, y'all watch TV. We in the movies. Future mentions us every chance he get. Rick Ross mentions us every chance. Somebody knows someone from the Zoe Pound. Like, don't act like this is brand new. And so I know you guys mentioned some of the things that you have worked on. So growing up, did any of you feel any pressure to go the traditional Haitian occupation route? Doctor, lawyer, engineer, nurse. Did any of you feel any of that pressure to do that? Or did your parents even push it?
My parents actually didn't push it. I think I was just always a smart kid, always did well in school. And so they just always felt like I was going to do something special and I was always going to be fine. They honestly never worried about me. They never like tried to push me in one direction or another. And I, since I was a kid, I always wanted to be a filmmaker. I was always a writer, and I always told my parents that. And I honestly never got any pushback from that.
What about you, Mir?
Same here. Like my parents never, and I don't want people to think that Haitians parents don't push because me and her said no. Like no, it's we're probably anomalies because Haitian parents usually be like, yeah, you gonna be three things. You hear me? But nah, my parents never actually did. I mean, they pushed me to go to school, and I on my own I chose to go and get my MBA or things of that nature. But they always would see me doing art, and they actually when I graduated school they admitted they thought they were surprised that I actually went and got a master's in business because they always saw me doing artwork, so they thought that's what I was going to roll into. So no, it was never any pressure at all. So that's something I'm really grateful about, though.
That I'm glad to hear that, because so many times our Haitian parents, they push what they want on us, and not till later down the line we start carving out our own way, which may delay us a little bit just because we're trying to please them and not do what we find passion for ourselves. Now, January 1st is Haitian Independence Day. So have any of you been to Haiti? What was your experience when you went to Haiti? I've been a few times, and one of these days I'm going to spend January 1st in Haiti just to see what the turn up is like. So any of you can answer, you both can answer, like what does Haitian Independence Day mean to you? And have you ever had the opportunity to be in Haiti either for Independence Day or just in general?
So yeah, I've been to Haiti maybe 10 times now. I went when I was younger for my grandfather's funeral. That was my first experience in Haiti. And then afterwards, I decided to start traveling with my mom to Haiti. And we took like 8 trips together to Haiti. It was like every year, every other year. Since COVID, we didn't travel, but we haven't traveled. And Haiti's just not doing well right now in general. So it's not too safe to travel. So we haven't been in a couple of years, but I love going to Haiti. I always have a great time. My family owns some land and some houses in Laguna.
Haitian parents don't own land. I will say Haitians own land everywhere. Don't be fooled, y'all. Ask your parent where your land at before, not to be gruesome, but ask your parents where Mama Kotemna. They're like, they do. We all got land in Haiti somewhere. No. I did not know this was a thing until I got land. Where? Why? I didn't know this. So yeah, right. Most Haitian kids, your parents got some land in Haiti. Find the paperwork. Ask them about it. That's your New Year's task.
Right. My brother, his name is on the mortgage on a house here in Massachusetts that my mom owns. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. You can have that. But any land any houses, anything in Haiti, that's me. Because I'm the one who travels. I'm the one who's most connected to the culture.
Get an
And don't
Airbnb.
come crawling. Yes, get that
Put
Airbnb
on
popping
Verbo,
whenever.
Airbnb. Hook it up.
That's right. Yeah. So every year we go to La Gonave and in August, and there's this like there's always like a few different bands that come and like do concerts and stuff like that. It's amazing. Like it feels so safe in La Gonave. I will go by myself or with some of like the kids, like across town to the grocery store, take a moto by ourselves, feel safe, like nothing happens. You know what I mean? It's a great city. And it's a couple of hours like off the coast of Port-au-Prince. You actually have to get on a boat to get to La Gonave. But it's amazing every time I go, and it's so beautiful. There's always like there's a bunch of butterflies on the island. Like,
Oh, that sounds beautiful.
oh my God, so many, but like as soon as you get on the island, hundreds of butterflies. It's
Add that to my
so
list of
beautiful.
places to visit when I'm in Haiti.
Yes, yes, yes. I actually went one year with my boyfriend and my family, and one day we woke up and everybody's leaving. We like, y'all not about to leave us here to be bored, and we went with them, and they were leaving us for a reason. We hiked for like 6 hours. We hiked for like 6 hours, and let me tell you, it was like we were like on a cliff. Like it was like we were on the side of a mountain, and it was steep, and me and him are looking at each other like, yo, we should have stayed home. Like they were trying to leave us for a reason. It was crazy. We were tired, but it was like, first of all, I saw a different side of my mom. My mom was just, she was a trooper. She was ahead of us the whole time, mind you, like obviously much older than us. And she's like ahead of us. She's chilling. She's just like, this is what I came for. Like, this is the
Right.
experience I
Going
came
to Haiti with your parents is a different experience, and you see them outside of that workaholic, tough exterior that they usually have when they're home. I definitely will say, like, when they're in Haiti, they're a complete, they're home. So they have just like a different
for.
composure to them when you're out with them.
Right, right, right. And to be honest, traveling with my mother is something that I didn't do. Like I would want to travel with my friends, right? Like if I'm gonna travel, I don't want to go with family and stuff. And I took one trip with my mom and then like seven others after that. Like we repaired a lot of our relationship by traveling together. And like we talked about like a lot of my childhood traumas and like how growing up Haitian and having to abide by her rules while simultaneously being in an American culture where those two it didn't always make sense to me. We talked about all of those things and like have completely repaired our relationship. So I encourage anybody to travel with your parents, especially back home.
For sure. And what about you, Mir? Have you been to Haiti? What was your experience like?
Yeah, unfortunately, I've only been to Haiti like once when I was 2 years old. Yeah, so I feel bad. I don't have as many stories. I've been wanting to. It's crazy. I've been wanting to go for like years now, but it always seems like every time I'm ready to go, there's like some type of something's going on or whatever.
Right. A global pandemic would definitely put a stop to your plans of going there.
Yeah, it was definitely on the list of places to go this year. But even in years past, there would be like some type of protest or something going on. So unfortunately, I haven't been able to go. It's crazy though. Like the very first memory I do have that I can remember is me on the plane coming back from Haiti when I was 2 years old, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, that's other than that. I don't actually have any great stories to tell about being in Haiti,
I
unfortunately.
would definitely going to Haiti, just as the other cultures do. It definitely will help you understand your culture a little bit better. Particularly if you're able to go back to where your parents are actually from, like their hometown, their department. It will help you understand them a little bit better when you see where they come from. And then of course, if you just do some of that tourism. I I'm not a big proponent of islands only having tourism economy, but tourism is a big draw for Haiti. So if you can enjoy Haiti as a tourist, definitely do that. Don't just leave it to other people who are not familiar with the country, but definitely go down there, experience some of that tourism, find someone reliable, find out who your family connect is down there. And I definitely encourage people to go to Haiti. I know Rotimi, you know, a lot of celebrities have recently gone there. Rotimi, I know Coffee from the song, I think she wrote her song while she was down there in Haiti. So there are, you know, definitely go if you can. Of course, be mindful about safety and those things and do your due diligence. But I definitely think it's something that a lot more Haitians need to do. Now, did any of your parents, well, maybe not you, Sarah, but did any of
Can I just say,
Haiti?
I didn't hear that last question, but
Sure.
Can I just say, Mir, there's probably always going to be some kind of protest. There's probably always going to be something like that going on in Haiti, and that don't let that stop you, honestly.
Okay. Yeah.
You should like go regardless, especially if you have family to go with.
Yeah, it's just, there's going to be something, and I don't want Haiti to get that stigma of just like, well, there's protests going in America every day. Like,
that's real.
It's just, you know, we're protesting the president, president-elect is about to come in, and people are still trying to get these voting workers ballots thrown out because they're upset about an election. So it's just, sometimes when it's a Black country that's doing the protesting, that fear level is just higher than some other place. But protesting is the song of the people. They're upset about how their country is being run. They should be allowed to protest. Now, when you come, don't go intertwine yourself in their protest if you're not well educated on why they're protesting. But, you know, be mindful and be safe. But I will agree, Sarah, if you keep putting it off, that opportunity will pass by, and then you won't have a chance maybe to meet some of those older relatives and really get to see, you know, things get torn down, things get rebuilt, and you might miss out on some of those memorable moments with your parents.
Sure.
And so thinking ahead, what are some of the things that you would like to see for either the Haitian diaspora or the Haitians in Haiti? As Haitians, we are always either thinking of how we can help Haiti or help those who are already, you know, either in America or Canada or other countries. Like, what are one or two things that you would like to see happen for the Haitian people in the Haitian diaspora?
So Haiti suffers from an infrastructure problem, and that's on many different levels. They don't have electricity 24/7, and that's because of a lack of infrastructure when it comes to electricity. They burn their trash, and there is trash everywhere in Haiti, and they don't have they just don't have a system for it. We take for granted some of the systems that we have here, like trash collection and stuff like that. You know, if we didn't have that, imagine how we would be living. They don't have like sewer systems. They don't have like clean water. There are so many infrastructural issues in Haiti, and to be honest, the government is not incentivized to fix those things. They are actually incentivized to keep Haiti exactly the way it is, because generations upon generations upon generations have capitalized off of the people being poor, off of the charity that Haiti receives. Haiti receives billions, and that ain't no cap. That's not a joke. That's not an exaggeration.
And not just billions from NGOs, it's billions from the diaspora. If your parents and like, gather 5 Haitians and ask them how much money they send to Haiti a month. Add that to whatever tax that they had to pay to send that money to Haiti. Add the money that the person in Haiti had to go and pay to get the money that was sent to them from America. So I will agree, sometimes I do feel the same way, that Haiti is incentivized to be stayed poor. And a lot of people, either well-intentioned or not, they enjoy helping out a poor little island country. Like, if we don't have poor people here, what we're going to do with our nonprofit that we're filtering money through for other things? Not to take it down, but, well, that's another conversation. But it's just that a country like Haiti can be well off, because America had that same problem in the 1930s and 20s, where they were the plague of 19, where the first pandemic, 1918. Throwing trash in the street, no sort. We was just, So if America could kind of like, all right, well, let's get this together, it can happen for Haiti. But like you said, the government does need to be incentivized to do better things. And that kind of bothers me as well. Like, shouldn't the government just want to be helpful to be helpful? But that's not
They're
necessarily.
lining their pockets with millions of dollars, and so no, they don't want to fix it. And so to marry the diaspora in Haiti, I think one way that we could help each other is I think people in the diaspora are already starting businesses in Haiti, but we need something more than tourism. And so and so the companies that we should be starting in Haiti should be like things for infrastructure. Like there's ways to turn trash into plastic. There's ways to turn trash into fuel. You know what I mean? Like if we started companies or solar companies, like there's so many things that we could do that could really help the country, and we can make a lot of money off of that too. And so, you know, that's a great way to start, I feel.
I want to say there's two. I interviewed Angie Bell. If you go look for Ask A Haitian living in Haiti. So she was born in Haiti, came to America, and she moved back to Haiti. And she started Poubelle au Cap. I want to say that's what it's called. So it's about sustainability and trash collection and like sustainability, yes, but that's not really my lane. But I like to see that people are picking their lane and what they're good at and what they believe in to help the people of Haiti. And if we can just ask the people, how can I help you? What is it that you believe in? And use your talent to help that person in Haiti and match their talent. Because sustainable, like to me, trash collection wasn't something that I thought of, but looking into it, well, take the trash off the street the same way they do here in America. Don't litter. If you care about your community, you keep your community clean. And if you keep your community clean, that brings in more people who want to move, and then you can build buildings. So, it's part of that cycle of building. So I definitely agree with those points as well. What about you, Mia? What are some things that you would like to see for the Haitian people or the Haitian diaspora going forward?
I guess from the point of view of I guess Haitians that are out of Haiti, one thing I would like to see within the next generation and the generations to come is just to hold on to, like, I guess what's left of, I guess, Haitian culture. Because one thing I do notice with like the newer generation, new generation, a lot of them, don't know how to speak Creole much. They don't know much about the history. They don't know much about the culture at all, and it kind of makes me kind of scared because like that's how. I'll never think Haiti. Our story is so potent and so powerful. I'll never think it'll be forgotten. But I do have a fear of them not being able to I don't know, relate to that as heavily as I mean, even within my generation, to a large degree, I've been kind of my Haitian, I guess, culture has been kind of diluted within even myself. So one thing I would definitely want to see within the next generation is just them kind of hold on to the culture a little stronger. How will that happen? I'm not. I mean, there are different ways. I can see different ways of how that can happen. But that's just one thing I've been thinking about a lot lately.
I agree with that. And it's about being immersive. I think Mira, you had mentioned it before, or maybe it was you said like of taking stuff for granted here in America. And I think sometimes we take being Haitian for granted. Like it's just gonna come by osmosis that we're gonna know how to speak Creole, or that you can listen to some compa or some zouk or what have you, or you can cook your Haitian food. But I think for the culture, even mine now, like when I went away to college, I did not speak Creole to only when I had my Haitian Cultural Association meeting. So I would come back home and like, ooh, Lungwen Lu. Like, ooh, this Creole is not the same. This Creole not the same, Sandra. And so it's like I have to speak Creole to people. I have to practice speaking Creole. I have to listen to Haitian music so I can keep my ear. And so I do believe like going forward, as we need to continue to immerse ourselves in spend a day, listen to nothing but Haitian music, try to find like a Haitian book and read it, read something about the history. Like, I think for me, that's something that I want to do as well, is learn more of the history part. Like I know the people part, Dedin, Latiboni, Munnom versus this people, Okap versus this, the mashes, things like that, but more of like the history of how things came to be, and why Haiti is so obsessed with dictatorship versus democracy, and why can't you just build your own democracy? Like, I don't feel like democracy is a cookie cutter thing. Like, you need to build a democracy that works for that type of island. We're island people. Haitians not trying to work a 9 to 5, and I don't blame them. Let them work their 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. and call it a day. Don't just only let it be, this cookie cutter. It has to be this way, or it's no way, or it has to be a dictatorship or nothing at all, or it has to be this type of democracy, like America's democracy, or it doesn't work. No, create your own. This your island. This your country. Make it as it seems. So I definitely agree with you both. Now, as we get ready to close, I'm all about supporting our Haitian brothers and sisters. So if there is something that you want to plug, whether it's your business, an upcoming event, please let us know how we can support, where we can find you on social media or your website.
So you can find me at Waffle Hive, like Beehive, on Instagram, on Facebook. Please follow, like, comment, all of those things. I will be working on new things in this new year. And so just follow. And if you have anybody in the...
So if you want to mail me like a Waffle Hive sample to review for the audience, I got you. Waffles is my favorite thing. I'm a waffle and tequila enthusiast. No, for real. Like, waffles, like, I do eat them a lot, much to my doctor's chagrin. But if you want me to review some of the waffles, if I need to drive up to Rhode Island, spend a day, come try it out, let me know.
Come through. You are welcome. You both are welcome to my restaurant anytime. I will hook you up. Come through. But yes, if you have any friends or family in the New England area, I'm not far from Boston either. My friends come from Boston all the time.
Okay, great.
If you have any people in the New England area, refer them to me.
And what about you, Mia? What are you working on? How can we support, and where can we find you?
Yeah, definitely. My website is artofmere.com, ARTOFMERE.com. I sell my artwork on that website. We ship internationally. So, wherever you are, we can get the pieces to you. I'm definitely looking to work on a lot more pieces, newer stuff in 2020 to offer on the site. But other than that, I have the Instagram. It's artofmere_. And I also have the Facebook, which is just Art of Mere. So definitely check my work out.
Awesome. Well, I thank you both for joining our first Ask a Haitian of the new year, and wishing you much success in 2021 and beyond.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.